Batman Year One is a graphic novel written by Frank Miller and illustrated by David Mazzucchelli. The book is considered to be one of the greatest Batman stories of all time, and is often cited as a major influence on the character's portrayal in film and television alike. Published in 1987, the book is a retelling of Batman's origin stories, focusing on his first year as a crime fighter in Gotham City. Join us as we break down some of the major plot points and common themes of this novel. The legendary Frank Miller, who brought us the greatest collective works of Daredevil, is also responsible for bringing us the great modern update of the Batman origin story in the post-crisis era, titled Batman Year One. One of the most striking aspects of Batman Year One is its focus on the character of Jim Gordon, the police lieutenant who becomes an ally to Batman. The book portrays Gordon as a man of integrity and courage, determined to clean up the corrupt police force in Gotham City. He is seen as a stark contrast to the other officers on the force, who are portrayed as incompetent and apathetic alike. Miller's portrayal of Gordon reflects his own political beliefs, as he has stated in several interviews that he sees the character as a liberal hero who stands up for what is right in the face of a corrupt authority. Another common theme that runs throughout the book is the idea of Batman as a symbol. Miller portrays Batman not as just a man, but as an idea of force for justice and order in a city overrun by criminals. The Batman character's costume and persona are designed to strike fear into the hearts of criminals, and to inspire hope into the citizens of Gotham. This theme is illustrated through the character of Bruce Wayne, who is shown struggling to reconcile his dual identities as Batman and a wealthy playboy alike. The idea of Batman as a symbol is one that has been explored in many other iterations of the character, including Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy and other DC projects more recently. Looking at more of the story, we see billionaire Bruce Wayne returns home to Gotham City after 12 years abroad, training for his eventual one-man war against crime. James Gordon has moved to Gotham City with his wife, Barbara Gordon, after a transfer from Chicago. Both are swiftly acquainted with the corruption and violent atmosphere of the city. Gordon quickly tries to focus on purging corruption from the Gotham City Police Department, after witnessing his partner, Detective Arnold John Flass, abuse his power as a police officer. Unfortunately, several officers, led by Flass, beat him on orders from his corrupt supervisor, Commissioner Gillian Loeb. In revenge, Gordon tracks down Flass, beats him, and leaves him naked and handcuffed in the snow. In case you were unaware, Jim Gordon is an absolute badass. Bruce Wayne, on the other hand, believes he is still unprepared to fight against crime, despite having the skills he learned abroad. He goes in disguise on a surveillance mission in Gotham's red light district, but is reluctantly drawn into a brawl with several prostitutes, Holly Robinson, and Selina Kyle. Two police officers shoot Bruce on sight and take him away in their patrol car. Bruce somehow breaks free, flees from the scene, and returns to Wayne Manor. Barely alive, he sits before his father's bust, requesting guidance in his war against crime. A bat suddenly crashes through the window and settles on the bust, inspiring him to save Gotham as Batman. Crime significantly declined after weeks of Bruce striking as Batman. He even goes after Flass while in the middle of accepting a bribe from Jefferson Skeevers, a drug dealer of Carmine Falcone. Later on, Batman interrupts a dinner party held at the mansion of Gotham's mayor and announces that everyone in the party has been enjoying the high life for far too long and shall be brought to justice for their crimes someday. Infuriated by Batman's threats, Loeb orders Gordon and GCPD Sergeant Sarah Essing to arrest him. The two later come across a runaway truck that nearly hits an old lady. Batman manages to save the lady's life while Gordon stops the truck. Batman then flees into an abandoned building, which Loeb orders a bomb dropped on. He also sends in a SWAT team led by trigger-happy Commander Brandon to kill any survivors left in the building. Batman uses a signal device to attract a swarm of bats from a bat cave as his only route to escape. After witnessing Batman in action against Brandon, Selina Kyle is inspired to don a costume of her own and begin a life of crime. Gordon and Essen begin to have a brief affair together and spend 2 months in a relationship, secretly behind Barbara's back. She, however, chooses to leave Gotham upon learning he is going to be a father of Barbara's unborn child. Gordon is left alone to investigate Bruce's connection to Batman, and he travels to Wayne Manor with Barbara to interrogate Bruce, who uses his playboy charms to divert suspicion. Shortly after, Skeevers gets bailed out with the help of a hired lawyer but is attacked by Batman shortly after, who convinces him to testify against Flass. Skeevers is drugged with rat poison in an assassination attempt so that he remains silent about the ties between the police force and the Mafia, although Skeevers survives after all of this. Bruce sneaks into Falcone's manor as Batman and overhears the private conversation between the Roman and his nephew, Johnny Vitti. He predicts their intentions to target Gordon's family, so he disguises himself as a motorcyclist to help Gordon. Gordon leaves his home on Loeb's orders, but becomes suspicious and turns back only to discover Vitti and his men already holding his family hostage. Vitti flees the scene with Gordon's infant son, and Gordon chases after him on Bruce's motorcycle. Down the road, the two men end up fighting on a bridge until the baby falls. Bruce catches up in time and leaps over the bridge's railing to save the baby. Gordon thanks Bruce for saving his infant son's life and lets him go. Flass supplies Assistant District Attorney Harvey Dent with the evidence and testimony needed to implicate Loeb, who resigns in disgrace. Gordon is then promoted to captain and prepares to meet with Batman to investigate a potential plot orchestrated by a criminal calling himself the Joker. An incredible novel by Frank Miller. Some other notable aspects in Batman Year One is its use of voiceover narration. The book is narrated often both by Batman and Gordon, with each character providing his own perspective on the events that unfold. This technique creates a sense of intimacy with the characters and the reader, and allows the reader to understand their motivations and the thought process in a way that would not be possible through natural dialogue alone. One of the most powerful aspects of Batman Year One is the portrayal of Selina Kyle, also known as Catwoman. Unlike traditional portrayals of female characters in comics, Selina is not just a love interest or a sidekick to the male hero. Instead, she is a complex, three-dimensional character with her own motivations and agency. She is not afraid to stand up for herself and her friends, and her strength and cunning are on full display throughout the story. Selina Kyle is first introduced as a sex worker who turns to stealing to make ends meet. She is portrayed as resourceful, intelligent, and fiercely independent, using her wits and physical abilities to survive in a world that is hostile to women. Selina's actions are driven by a desire for autonomy and freedom, which are denied to her by a society that views women as objects to be used and controlled. As we see the story progress, Selina becomes more involved with Batman, and their relationship becomes increasingly complex. Unlike other female characters in the Batman universe, who are often relegated to the role of love interest, Selina is an equal partner to Batman, and their interactions are characterized by mutual respect and admiration. Selina is shown to be a skilled fighter and strategist, and her abilities are respected and appreciated by Bruce. However, Selina is not a perfect feminist icon. She is still objectified and sexualized in the story, and her past as a sex worker is used to justify her current situation as a thief. Additionally, her motivations for stealing are not always portrayed as entirely altruistic, but rather as a way to acquire power and control over her own life and others in it. Similarly, the character of Sarah Essen is also portrayed as a strong, capable woman. She is a skilled detective who is not afraid to speak her mind, even when it goes against the opinions of her male colleagues. Her relationship with Batman is also depicted in a way that challenges gender norms, as she is not simply a damsel in distress waiting to be rescued. Furthermore, Batman Year One subverts these traditional gender roles by portraying Bruce Wayne even as a vulnerable and flawed person. He is not simply a stoic hero who always has everything under control. Instead, he is shown struggling with his own fears, his own doubts, making him a more relatable and human character overall. In addition to its nuanced portrayal of female characters and subversion of traditional gender roles, Batman Year One also tackles issues of corruption and power dynamics. It shows how those in positions of power can abuse their authority and exploit the vulnerable, and how even the most well-intentioned individuals can struggle to make a difference in a system that is rigged against them. In many action sequences throughout this novel, Batman takes down his attackers with technical efficiency, and he never breaks his stride from his goal of saving criminals' lives in the process. The scenes throughout this novel exemplify Miller's distinctive narrative style, which is characterized by its gritty realism and intense action, but overall sense of morality. Miller's use of shadow and negative space in his illustrations creates a sense of tension and drama that is unparalleled in this world of comic books. Overall, Batman Year One by the legendary Frank Miller is always going to be my most recommended starting point for any collection, whether it be Batman, Robin, Nightwing, Red Hood, Red Robin, any part of the Bat family. You're going to want to start, if you're talking about post-crisis era, with Frank Miller's Batman Year One. Thank you for joining us on this breakdown of this legendary book and graphic novel, and look forward to our next episode, which will be tackling the next book in line, Batman: The Haunted Knight.